Thank you for joining us today on Spotlight on the Candidate. Today we're speaking with Caitlin Marsh, a candidate for North Carolina Senate in District 10. Hello, Caitlin, and welcome to Spotlight on the Candidate. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you for having me, and I am doing well. How are you?
I am great, um, and I know, it's amazing what you're doing. You're a single mother. You've got three kids. You are
Mm.
taking the fight to the institution, and yeah. I mean, look at for the interview, you're in your car, you're all ready to go. You
I
are,
know.
I know you're
Goose
going,
on the loose.
yep, a million miles an hour. So I really appreciate you taking some time to join us today. Um, our process, as you know, we ask the candidate who joins us for Spotlight if they'd identify one or at most two of the most important articles of the politician's creed to them, and or to who they think, their constituents it would mean the most to. You chose one article, and as the one you chose was accountability. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that one starts with, I understand it's the responsible of all politicians to recognize their limitations and conflicts of interest and be held accountable to their constituents by
Mhm.
election, impeachment, or recall in the face of such limitations and conflicts. Yeah.
Correct.
It goes on beyond that, but let me ask you, why is this one so important to you?
I feel like a lot of our politicians now, well, truly most of them, special
Hmm.
interest is just it's an everyday thing. We don't have politicians who have truly lived an experience. They pass legislation that benefits their donors,
Hmm.
the people who put money in their pockets, while their same constituents are hurting, while my fellow neighbors are hurting. That's the whole reason I ran, because life has to be better than this. The
Yeah.
legislation that we implement has to be better than what it is. They always tell you, this is what
Mhm.
I've done for you. Look at all I've done for you. But has our lives gotten better? And I say no, they have not. Inherently, they've gotten worse, more expensive. And I'm going into service to change that, to help remedy that situation, to be proactive with legislation, not just reactive.
Okay. Good. And I hear what you're saying. They always say, "Hey, look at what I've done for you,"
Mm-hmm.
but and yet it doesn't seem to have an effect. I mean,
Right.
are they gaslighting you? I mean, what? Oh,
I think sometimes when you look at politicians,
hmm.
you never really choose who you vote for, right? We vote, but we never
Hmm.
really choose a candidate. They're all cherry picked, funneled in through the pipeline. And I mean, every politician, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on, they're all
Hmm.
cherry picked. I'm changing that.
Okay.
I'm not backed by anyone. It's just me with a passion and a mission. And I think that that is what we need more of. The people who are here who actually know what it feels like to be a regular person
I
and
couldn't
not
agree
just go
more.
through the
Yeah.
pipeline back. Yeah. So it's kind of
You
recentering the values.
and you're running as a Republican
Hmm.
in a Republican-held district already, correct? So you're running
Correct.
against the incumbent. The incumbent is running again, correct?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. He is.
okay.
Yes.
So that's an uphill battle. How does it feel
It
it's
is.
going so far?
Ah, it's been fun. It's been stressful, fun,
Hmm.
busy. It's definitely been an uphill battle. I
Hmm.
I will I will say, in the beginning, very naive. Over the past 6 months, I have 5 gray hairs now. I've
Okay.
learned a
Yeah.
couple lessons in this, but I think I'm doing pretty well, all things considering. But I think there's still a lot more fight left to go, and we have what, less than 2 weeks until actual election day. So I'm gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
Stay
Now
busy.
2 weeks from now, that's the primary, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. So this will be interesting. What happens if you don't win the primary? Are you going to run
Well,
as an independent or what?
no, you can't do that here.
You can't.
Whenever you run under a party, you have to stay. If you lose the primary, you just lose that election. That's okay. I'll
Okay.
be here again in 28, but I'll finish off
Okay.
my college degree by then too. So I
Yeah.
still have a lot of things going on.
Okay. But you've already built up some impressive support around you and so forth, and your volunteers are doing good work
Hmm.
and so forth. So. We definitely would like to see some of, what you're doing get into office. But
Hmm.
we've talked about this before, and I like what I heard before. I like it now. You're building for the long term. So,
Right,
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm
and
building
considering,
the supporters, the
yeah,
network, everything. I want sustainability, not just a quick fix.
yeah, good, good. Um, so how would you get into office, how how can you bring about a change in the accountability issues we have? Yeah. Part
Hmm.
uh, Do you have any ideas on that yet?
Regarding bringing transparency back to the constituents, or when you're asking
Yeah,
about accountability, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think we've spoken about it too. The what the
Mhm.
the MLM voter pyramid scheme. I call it that. It's not the best name for it.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to explain it. You're at the top, put it down to your people under you, then it goes down, and you find out what is needed in your community, and then you build legislation and propose it around those needs.
Yeah.
And that
So,
it holds you accountable to your constituents while also letting you know, hey, do we like this or do we not like this?
okay. So multiple tiers of volunteers
Mm-hmm.
going out into the community
Yeah.
because you can't have, it gives you the ability to have a meeting with
Mm-hmm.
your first tier, those then have meetings with their tiers and on down
Mm-hmm.
versus trying to get everybody together for a big town hall meeting and then shouting over each other all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Smart.
And a
Good.
lot of times we see that's how voices get silenced and you don't know what's happening. There's vast needs in my community that often are just, I call it the rose colored glasses narrative. We
Hmm.
constantly only see what's in our own tunnel. We don't see what's actually happening. Like we have a homeless epidemic, we have a drug epidemic here. There is a there's sex trafficking of mass proportions here of children. There's things
Wow.
that are
Okay.
happening that need to be corrected. And the rose colored glasses. No one sees what's actually happening. It's just
Mm.
a mixture of just so much going on that how do we really get in there and fix things? And I believe that starts at a legislative level. I don't believe it starts at a county level at all. I believe if you want things to change that are happening on that scale, you have to start where the funding is, where we make the laws, because until that changes, anything underneath it's not going to change.
Yeah. Very good. You have you have three major focuses for you,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about accountability, and that's why you honed right in on Article 7 of TPC.
Mm-hmm.
But your three root major concerns are government accountability and transparency, which we mentioned some of, education
Mm-hmm.
reform and protecting families, and then
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure and urbanization. Um,
Correct.
these, great subjects, great, I mean, altogether they cover pretty much the most
Mm-hmm.
important things to American families and so forth. Um, so what about education reform and protecting families? I mean,
Yeah.
what are the concerns in your district? Your district is a rural district that starts just north of Charlotte and
Mm-hmm.
extends up to just west of Greensboro. So there's some miles in there. And so what are the concerns? What's happening in that district from with regards to education and family life?
Yeah, so in Johnston County, our schools are they're full, and
Hmm.
that ties into infrastructure first. We've had rapid urbanization. We've had too many people move in.
Hmm.
There's not enough sustainability, or there's not enough infrastructure to sustain who's already moving in. So then our schools get full. And when our schools are full, then I will never say the quality of education goes down because we have amazing educators. But when there's so much going on in the classrooms, the kids can't focus. There's too
Hmm.
much. We have children in parts of the county that have all the services they need. But then in other parts of the county, they don't get any of the services they need, or they're very scarce. Sorry, excuse me. There's a way to move forward and bridge that gap. And I think one of the biggest narratives in that is invoking infrastructure first legislation as opposed to just this rapid sprawl legislation that we've had. Is
Okay.
I've looked at over the past 10 years really, and it's not at a certain locus, it's just these minor tweaks and they build upon each other. It's like a domino
Mhm.
effect. And I always say that especially the past 4 years, the legislation has just It's made these minor tweaks and it's just really aided in rapid development, overdevelopment. And it's
Mhm.
not sustainable. It's not sustainable for our children. It's not sustainable for our great grandchildren. I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at 4 or 5 generations down. How would my
Okay. We had a little gap there, but you reconnected.
yeah
And so we talked about government accountability, transparency. We talked about education reform and protecting families. And it's interesting. I noticed that you see the obvious interconnections between all of these things. So it's why, yeah, as you speak of one, you show how the other one's tied in.
right.
Infrastructure and urbanization, you were mentioning that with regards to protecting families and the impact it's having on families. Um, so what's happening with regards to urbanization? What could you do in office that would change that? You know, get
Of
it.
course. So one thing that I've seen, and I know we always say that things happen on a local level, they do, but they don't. I think a lot of the legislation that has been implemented over the past, like I was saying, really the past 4 years, well, even if we go, let's say 10 years, a lot of it has those minor tweaks that take away local decision making power, local
Mhm.
voice. Inherently, it allows developers or anyone who wants to come in and build and push out straw, I call them straw homes, but that's what they do. They build homes, they leave, and then as everything goes up around the taxes, the road quality, traffic, everything that goes down, you have the infrastructure like roads. Sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry. The
That's
little
okay.
gap there is messing me up. Sorry. Yeah.
That's
But
okay.
you got overflow on our infrastructure. So yeah, it's the roads, it's the schools, it's our soil, you
And
know?
you mentioned water in one of our earlier discussions about
Yeah.
issues with water.
Right.
And
Yeah. So, and our water quality has gone down. We pull from the news. I mean,
mhm,
Clayton, they pull from Wake County, sure, but majority of the county, they still pull from the news. So when you have this influx of people, it doesn't matter. The runoff goes into the water. Then you have like our wastewater treatment facility. If we're still allowing people to put on to a system that's already close to capacity, that's going back into your water. Inherently, it is. Even if it's treated, accidents happen to me like what? A week or two ago, there was 81,000 gallons of raw sewage just into the wetlands. That's going into our waterway. And we don't
ouch,
test, I mean,
ouch.
sure, we test for a few things, and
Hmm.
that's a daily occurrence, but like we're not testing for industrial chemicals. We're not testing for PFAS. We're not testing for pharmaceutical byproduct or byways. These things that are happening within this is where my children bathe.
Hmm.
This is what my children use to brush their teeth. What are their bodies being exposed to? And that is something that I am passionate about because this is our children we're talking about.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
upset over fluoride being in the water. And
Yeah.
now we have all these other chemicals and additives, and maybe it's just the mom and me there, but I think that that is something that we should really be very careful about, especially with Johnston County being at a water deficit where we are. And every county in the state of North Carolina is at a water deficit. That's
Mm.
100 counties, all at a water deficit. And Johnston County is projected by 2030 to need new sources of water. That is substantial.
Where are you going to get them?
They're
Yeah.
trying to figure it out, but at the same time,
Yeah.
2030, let's have another 81,000 or 81,000 gallons of raw sewer spilled. What's going to happen? Are you not
Yeah.
going to be able to drink your water? Are you not going to have enough water for the week? It's a domino effect, and that
Hmm.
ties back to the rapid urbanization
Yeah.
with faulty infrastructure or lack thereof. And then as we're building the infrastructure to make up for the pre-existing issues, we're still growing.
Yeah.
It's band-aid on bullet wing policies is being reactive, not proactive. And I'm for proactive legislation, not reactive. And everything, once again, it goes back to the legislator.
Hmm.
They make the rules. They tweak things to facilitate or not facilitate what is currently happening. And I'm for changing that. I'm for giving the voices back to the people. I'm for
Yeah.
realigning our values and creating a sustainable future for our children. And I believe that as just Americans, as parents, even grandparents, you should want a sustainable future for not just your children or your grandchildren, but the next 4 or 5 generations down the line. They deserve to have a happy, healthy life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reminded with what you're talking about there with the water, I'm reminded of what's happening with Iran right now. We put so much trust in our politicians to do the right thing, and so often they don't. They've got their personal agendas, and it's horrible. The entire country of Iran
Mhm.
is about to be uninhabitable because the water table has collapsed
Right.
under the fact that the politicians have had a narrow view on things. They look at this thing without how it affects that thing and so forth. And one of the things I
Right.
like about your website, and I've given looked all over it several times. One of the things I like about it is how you understand the interconnectivity of so many things. That's important for our politicians to have that kind of perspective on things. So you're bringing that to the table. Kudos for that, Caitlin. As we start to wrap up here, is there any other thing you'd like to focus on and discuss? Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered it all. I don't want to get too much into the weeds and confuse everyone, but thank you, Jim, for being such a
My
kind friend,
pleasure.
and I appreciate everything. And thank you for having me today.
Okay, my pleasure. And thank you for your time today, Caitlin. And if anybody watching would like to support Caitlin, go to her site, voteforgoose.com,
Hmm.
and join her flock and just
Hmm.
check her site out. I think you'll be really impressed.
Have
So
I ever told you why they call me Goose? Have I ever told
I don't think you have.
you? Okay.
Share that with us.
Well, I've started using it in my campaign. My grandpa called me Goose because I had a
Okay.
goose as a baby, but I was bald headed. So it stuck. But now I'm proportional. So it
Okay,
worked out. But
good.
yeah, and that for everyone out there, that's why they call me Goose.
Okay. Well, for a 25-year-old to have 5 gray hairs already, we know you're hitting this hard. So,
I am. I am.
yeah.
I really
So, good job. Good job. Anyway, okay. And to all of you watching this video, please click the like and subscribe button so we can bring you more TPCO certified candidates like Caitlin Marsh. Thank you.
thank you.